It's the Traumedy Podcast. Trauma plus comedy equals Traumedy. This week on Traumedy.
And then they asked me to be a pallbearer, and I'm like, do you go, nope, that's where I draw the line, no physical labor for me. So
I'm union.
Yeah, but I was honored, to be a pallbearer. But then after that.
But that's just a little traumedy release.
Yeah.
Because it's almost overwhelming to think about losing your dad and then losing your marriage and then losing your father-in-law, who was like another father to you.
He really was like a father. And so after that, I had a gig in Arlington, Texas. I'm staying in this condo by myself, and I've never felt so alone. And I'd go for walks, and one day I was walking, and this black bird swooped me and came so close to my face that I felt the air. It never touched me. And I was like, that was red.
You felt it. Thank you for sharing that. You're listening to Traumedy, the podcast that helps you take your pain and play with it. I'm Nancy Norton. I am a former nurse, comedian, and keynote speaker about the power of humor, why we need it, how it helps us.
Bring the power of humor to your next event with award-winning comedian Nancy Norton. Nancy got out of healthcare for the same reason a lot of people get into it, to save lives. Message Nancy at nancynorton.tv. The Traumedy Podcast is sponsored by Crybaby Badass. You have to feel it to heal it. You are a Crybaby Badass luminary. See your light in the mirror. Do you have a trauma? Hey, you listening, do you have a traumedy story to share? If so, send Nancy a message at nancynorton.tv.
This is a very good episode. Every episode is so good. I love my job. I love my calling. This is a calling, as you know. I cannot not do Traumedy because I need these conversations. I hope by listening in, you get a little something from them as well. I really am learning from every guest some coping skills or some inspiration and always something funny every single time. And this is a mental health podcast. So keep breathing. No, you're not alone. If you want to find a comedy show or to connect with me, go to my website, nancynorton.tv. Everything is there. Welcome to season 4 of Traumedy. Wow, that went fast. How are you hanging in there? I've been struggling this year with the news and the regime, let's just say. I cannot even pretend that I don't have an opinion about ICE and about what happened to Renee Good, and it's been extremely upsetting what's going on, not just to her, but around the country. People's constitutional rights are being violated. People are being kidnapped without due process. I'm very upset. I'm very concerned, and I'm asking what is mine to do. Yes, take action. Ask your higher power, what is mine to do about this? And let's do our best to honor that. And for me, humor helps me stay recharged and gives me a break. And I hope that you find that I hope this helps you stay the course and stay alert and not to check out. It's very tempting to just not look at what's going on in the world right now. And of course you need breaks. I heard someone else say something about working in shifts, and just know that you've got to take breaks. You've got to take care of yourself, and we have got to use our humor. Otherwise, the toxic stress hormones will kill you, and we need you. So stick around and laugh with us, and I'll see you on the other side. Welcome to Traumedy. My guest this week is a long-term friend, a Denver comedy legend. Let's just say it. You can't say it enough because you are an icon here in our community. Been on the Comedy Works regular list since the 80s.
Yeah.
And we're still at it. I mean, I've been there since 91. What year was your...
I think I started doing comedy, I don't remember, the exact date, but it was either late 79 or in 1980.
Wow.
Is when I started.
And what I love, John, is knowing you over these decades. I mean, and it has been decades.
Yeah, it has.
And we live, like we were just talking, you might have walked over today, but it's snowy and a little icy out and everything. But I mean, knowing you over these decades, it's been fun to see the progression, but also like there's such a constant in you as well. I was thinking about that. What a calming presence you've always had. Like you are consistently John Novosad. I mean, even though you were known as Hippie Man a while back, you underneath you're like, for real, like there's just this vibe inside your frequency seems very mellow.
Yeah, I think, that's just the way, that's what my nature is. It takes a lot for me to really, if I get angry, I mean, I'll let someone know, but it takes a lot. I mean, I'm a pretty mellow guy,
Yeah. And the way you work it out, on stage and stuff, like some of that anger, I still love that, I know we probably talked about it last time, but I love that bit about the knife fight on the bus.
Yeah.
Or wait, the guy, you wave the hand or something?
Right. I put my hand over my head and then stab the guy. And I say, if you're ever getting a knife fight, always throw that hand up there. Because when they're looking up there, stab them.
And it's so funny coming from you, like the Dalai Lama of comedians.
And then I tell the audience, just a little knife fighting tip from me to you. So.
But it releases something, because we were just, when you walked in, I was just saying, I mean, I need this conversation with you today. And I know what Traumedy does is like taking that trauma out of our body and releasing it and letting it transmute into whatever that is, a higher frequency. I don't know, but man, I've been struggling with the ice murder of Renee Good, and also just the whole thing. Like once I started looking at reels of that, I'm just seeing one after another of all these kidnappings and no due process, and I'm just so upset. And then I'm getting to doom scrolling, and I'm forgetting I'm a comedian. Really, I'm like I think at my core I'm a little fiery activist, but to what, I don't know what I'm called to do, but comedy and write about it.
Yeah. Well, and you talked about releasing it, and it's like there's so much to release. My God. I mean, it's just day after day after day, and it's sad. It's a sad situation, but what can you do? I mean, well, there are things you can do, but you know what I'm saying.
And everyone's called to do something different. And that's the thing. That's what I keep asking, because I do a little prayer. I really do believe in a higher power. And I always say, I cover my bases, because I was raised in the buckle of the Bible Belt. And yes, I have been saved by Baptists just in case. Right. But, I went to Nepal. I saw these beautiful, people in the Hindu religion and the Buddhist and I don't know. I'm not into religion, but very spiritual. So I do a little prayer to like God, guides, angels, the one, the many, all that is love.
Yeah.
I call in everybody.
Right.
Please help us. And Mother Earth, And so, I don't know. I ask, what is mine to do? And I guess the message I keep getting is this. This is mine to do. This is the role of the comedian in society, is to acknowledge the socio-political commentary with a way that is palatable, or that doesn't maybe do a takeover like a PTSD response, which I am prone to. You were saying you were working with a comedian last night who was going on some rants.
Yeah. Ian Fidance, Fidance, a New York comic. Man, super funny. I'd never worked with him before. I hosted at the Comedy Works, our home club. And he did an hour for sure, but like the last 10 or 15 minutes, he just went off, and I don't remember exactly how he was talking about it, but he talked about the ICE shooting and basically said, what bullshit it was, and how he goes, that woman was not a domestic terrorist. I mean, he made it funny, but he really, hit the points, you know.
Yeah.
And
did that help you in any way, like physically,
Yeah,
or the audience? Did you sense that they were craving that kind of acknowledgement of truth and release?
Yeah, for the most part, because this guy is a draw for sure. I mean, it was a Thursday night at the club, and it wasn't sold out, but there were like 250 people there. And, you know, as an MC, when you introduce someone, you can tell if the audience is there to see him. I mean, when I
that
him,
energy that goes right through your body.
And so, and I would say this, that of the people that were there, 99% of them were behind him, but there was a couple people who were like, boo, you know. Or just,
oh, really?
Yeah, they were upset because, and I'm obviously guessing or whatever you want to call it, making an assumption, but I'm guessing that they were probably MAGA or pro-MAGA people, you know.
Was his comedy a style? I don't know him, and people can look him up, but is his comedy kind of a style that would draw those people, or maybe they're people that came not knowing what comedy they're going to see? Who knows?
I think, yeah. I mean,
does he seem progressive in general?
Yeah, he does, and I think that he draws that kind of people. And it was funny because, you know, as the host, about 55 minutes in, I'm standing just backstage waiting for him to finish off so I can go up there and say goodnight. And there were two women in the front row that I could see. And I mean, they were so engaged with him, you know, even not heckling him, but commenting and being very gestury. And, you know, and I think that that's the majority of the crowd that he draws are there. And they probably are more progressive. I mean, I just met the guy backstage and talked to him for a few minutes, but judging from his act, I'd say he was pretty progressive, you know.
Yeah. But we still get folks. I mean, obviously, I remember when Brett Kavanaugh was confirmed, and I was so upset. And of course, I have this background from activist theater. And so I couched a bit in the middle of my set because I knew how I would recover from it. But I underestimated, what happened was I was down at the South Club, which is in a very rich neighborhood.
Right. White, affluent people.
Yes. And I was doing this thing about Brett Kavanaugh and how I believe Professor Ford and how I'm just so I went on a little rant and then I was just using Brett, his name, as if I was vomiting, like Brett Kavanaugh. And then this big man, like I looked like a possible former football player. I mean, he was huge and he had brought a party. So he had a bunch of people with him and he stood up and he was yelling at me, in this huge voice, and I was trying to de-escalate it without. I don't know. It wasn't effective. I will say that. I was just like, hey, man, I just want men to be held accountable. I have a son, and I'm telling you, if that was my son, I would not be sitting behind him at that confirmation hearing. I would be wanting him to go get therapy, get counseling, or whatever. But anyway, I don't even know where I was going with that, other than I've had my moments where people, but that guy, and he took his whole party and left, and then continued to harass the manager, who was a female, and then didn't pay his bill. Look back on that, and I'm like, I should have doubled down a little bit, like, follow your dick out the door, man, but instead I was like, oh, let's talk,
Well, and it's so funny. I mean, this is me being judgmental again, but I would say a lot of the people that voted for Trump, they're like sore winners, you know what I mean? Like, I have a joke about, this is not the most pedestrian-friendly part of Denver I've ever been in, and I was crossing at a crosswalk, cars were stopped, and they're like, I think I can legally hit this guy now. And just, I ad-libbed one night, and I said, especially after this last election, because it was after Trump got elected, and somebody booed me, and I was like, I didn't even, I go, that's what you're going to boo me on? I mean, come on.
Sore winners. That's an interesting concept. Sore winners.
They are.
They're insatiable.
Yeah.
He's insatiable. Greedy.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't say anything. When I hear my voice, I'm like, Nancy, you're not saying anything anybody else hasn't already said about that. But, okay, we know this. We know he's a malignant narcissist. We know he's insatiable, power hungry. And now we're stealing. I mean, oil from Venezuela. I don't know. I mean, I'm not informed enough to comment on this.
Yeah. We want to buy Greenland. I'm like, okay, what the heck, man? It's crazy. It's just insane.
So how do you personally deal with this feeling when you drop in to go, like, that stuff hits you and it's like, it is crazy making. How do you what do you do? How do you cope with that? Like when you're alone in your apartment or whatever.
Get a bottle of gin. No, I mean, I think one of the ways that I cope with it is I think about the difference I can just make individually with the people that I meet in my life. You know? And I wish that we would focus on that more as a country, as a world, that, everybody gets all uptight about these issues and, saying that that woman shouldn't have been driving there and that's what, and all that. And I mean, I'm outraged by all that. But also where I can make the biggest impact is interactions with my friends, people I run into at the grocery store. And I'm not, a saint by any stretch of the imagination. I'll have a bad day myself, where I don't want to deal with people or whatever. But that's what I try to bring it to, is on a, one-on-one scale of interaction with the people around me and try to make a difference that way. And then there are ways to either donate money or time or, your services. Taking action is what you're saying. Like, don't get in that sense of powerlessness. Like, okay, here's my action. I can do something and I can connect with my friends. I can write a funny joke on Facebook rather than whatever. And then I can, like you said, I have been sending some money to certain causes. So yeah, taking action. You're right. I think you're right. It's the powerlessness that is when anxiety gets so overwhelming, is when we get frozen. Right. And not to say that it's not appropriate to have rage or, any of those emotions. I guess I know that I get so upset with myself when I hear cliches come. I hear them coming. Here comes the cliche. But I mean emotion, to move, like motion. And so I'm asking, having dialogue with those feelings and going, okay, what are you telling me? What is it? What am I to do? And it is over and over that question, and it changes. I have gone to some protests and. Yeah, I've done that too. And the other thing that helps me is to recognize the absurdity of what is happening. And it's like a bad play. I mean, you couldn't write this stuff. And to just take a moment and go, I cannot believe that these people are doing this, know? And it's so absurd. And then to try to make that into humor by picking a topic. And I'm really careful about not going after, an individual politician. But Ian Fidance, I mean, he went after Trump really hard and it worked. But again, he's drawing a crowd of people that want to see him. Right. So they're going to give him way more latitude than somebody like me just in front of I'm not putting myself down, but I'm not a big draw. So I'm going up in front of a room full of strangers. If I went up and didn't even talk about Trump, but talked about, whatever, Tim Walz or some politician and stuff, the chances are it's not going to work as well as someone who has people coming specifically to see them.
Yeah, and they know what they're coming to see. Yeah, you make a good point. And, you are a draw, but you are a draw when, absolutely in this community. And it's all about advertising too. Oh, yeah. But like a lot of times, because we have a showcase club where like you're opening for other acts that come in, and that's when you're in front of somebody else's audience. Although it's nice, sometimes we know like when I open for someone like Sarah Silverman, I know I can talk about the miscarriage in a way that is going to be pro-choice. Like I have this bit about, my biggest, saddest pain, but also, if God can perform a spontaneous abortion, which is what a miscarriage is, on me, then you can surprise God with a planned one. But I can't do that. I don't feel I won't do that on a Moms Unhinged show because that's a show that's a different, someone else's brand, and we want to be inclusive, and we're trying to lift all boats, so to speak.
It's a night out for them.
Well, and it's just not worth it to alienate half the audience. I don't know. I just choose my material. So I hear what you're saying. You choose it wisely. Like, this isn't my show. Like when you are doing your show, when you are the headliner, when people are, I mean, and let's face it, like you said, when people look at you, they're not going, because I love your joke about being a registered Republican.
Yeah.
What is it?
I say, I just like showing up to the meetings and freaking them out. And then they're like, you're not supposed to be here. And I'm like, yeah, I am. When I tie my hair back, I look like that guy on the nickel, And then they're like, how the hell did he get on the nickel? We got to let him in. Just taking a shot at them.
Yeah, but people, if they come in, they're seeing John Novosad, they see your headshot, I think they do know, like, pretty much, like, you're a liberal. Pot-smoking liberal. So, I don't know. With Nancy Norton, though, let's face it, Nancy Norton could, I do have that whole background in the Ozarks, and I do, like I say, I am trying to bring this country back together again, and it's not going well. So
it's a big job.
But I'm done even, like, pretending to try to, I don't know, convince a dyed-in-the-wool Trumper. I just don't think I'm going to reach anybody. I don't see that, but I don't know. Let me dream, I guess, could happen.
Yeah.
Probably not when I call them Trumpers.
Probably not. But, it's crazy because I was thinking about this the other day. And this, I almost feel like if people would placate him and name stuff after him and give him bullshit awards and stuff. I don't know if it would. I think it would make a difference. I think he would be nicer. I don't know if it'd make a difference in
But
policy.
didn't he just get a bullshit award, like a peace prize from a soccer thing? I don't even.
He did. And then they had a trophy, a bullshit trophy, and then they had like, a medal on a ribbon. And when the guy from FIFA opened up the box, Trump grabbed it and held it up like a little kid. And that's what I was thinking about, It's like, this guy just wants weird accolades. But I don't know if it would make a difference in the way he governs. But he's interested. Like, he named the Kennedy Center the Trump Kennedy Center or whatever, and it's like,
and all these, they canceled.
Yeah, and the ratings were down for that last television thing that he hosted at the Kennedy Center.
Oh man, he hosted it.
Yeah,
I totally ignored it. I did see that circulating on Facebook to boycott the Kennedy Award or whatever I can't even say it. I'll say the Kennedy Center. My mother, that was like her favorite thing every year to watch those. Like, it was like the thing.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, but but you know what? The thing about narcissists, this is the sad truth that I have had to accept, is they will never be satisfied because there's like a black hole inside that cannot be filled. And it's just, they can't. And and in some ways I have compassion. Like, that's miserable. Like, no matter how much wealth he has, how much power, how many awards that he gets, he's not satisfied.
He's not. And like, we can talk about late night television, like the Tonight Show, Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert, and say, late night television is dying or whatever because of the internet. However you want to say that. But as far as what any president thinks about late night television, I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you focusing on what Jimmy Kimmel's saying about you? And he also said Stephen Colbert should be put to sleep.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, why are you even focusing on this when we don't have, they just rescinded the Obamacare subsidies?
Subsidies, yeah.
And he's worried about friggin' Jimmy Kimmel, it's like, give me a break.
The whole idea is to control, right? The media, control, power and control. As a survivor of sociopath and narcissist abuse, I know it on a micro level. I know that feeling of controlling the dialogue, controlling the narrative, gaslighting. The gaslighting, like, even with this thing with, like, let's, first send like a prayer to like the family of Renee Good. Send a prayer to her family. I got to send a little prayer. Settle down. I forgot what I was talking about. Now my frontal lobe went offline. Oh, man. Oh, dang. I really forgot what I was saying. That's how it is. And I keep having these kind of little PTSD moments, I think, from some of the The gaslighting, that's what it was. The guy, like, just like you said, trying to control that narrative and that guy going in the hospital. Give me a break. You're going in the hospital after you dodged the car so you could make it look like.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the gaslighting. It triggers me. It all triggers me. And I noticed, so here's what I did. I have not watched a sitcom in a long time. I think after doing stand-up for so long, I don't know, maybe I just don't, nothing really surprises me that much, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I shouldn't say, I mean, I know there's good ones out there, but I used to love, in the 70s and, you know, Mary Tyler Moore and the old sitcoms, somehow YouTube started showing me Golden Girls. And I gotta say, that was some good writing and well acted. That's the thing. Those women could deliver. And so here I am. This is me titrating my trauma. I'm watching watch a Golden Girls. It's like, I know that sounds crazy, but there's something about.
At least ICE isn't going to shoot Betty White, you know?
But, you know, I really was thinking how much I appreciate, like I had gratitude for comedians. And I thought, wait, I'm a comedian, but I got in over my head. I got to be honest. I got in over my head, and I'm like, I need help. And I called you. I called John to come over. Last night I went to a game night with some friends and laughed, but it's like, we need to connect with each other. We need to not isolate.
Right.
But I will say, I was grateful for those comedians that wrote that script. I thought, this is such a smart, funny show. And I laughed out loud. And I wondered if it was because I was under so much tension. I usually don't laugh out loud at a sitcom at home. And I was laughing out loud on my side in my bed, thumb scrolling videos.
Yeah. And I mean, you know, that's what you needed, I guess, at that time. But it is true. I'll say it this way. Like, I think sitcoms, I compare them to improv. You know, like when improv is really good, it's great. And I feel that way about some sitcoms. Like you mentioned Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah.
I thought that had the best ensemble cast ever, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel that way about improv shows. Like I remember years ago I went to it was improv festival, and they had 3 improv groups, each doing 30 minutes. And one of them, I mean, that's the way I felt about that improv.
Come from a long line of chokers. Like, I think our anatomy is not designed well. My family, all the women in my family do this a lot. Like at a meal, like it's just, I used to work on a bit about Thanksgiving at the Heimlichs.
That's really funny. One time I was at church at Unity of Boulder, and I was drinking some water, and that happened to me. And it was right when Jack Groveland was talking about vaccinations, and he's like not pro-vax. And it was so funny because I had to get out of the church because I was coughing. So it looked like my friends that I went to church with thought I was pissed about the vaccination thing. And I kept coughing, so I wanted to get out.
I think a cough is a great protest to an anti-vaxxer. Just start hacking away and like watch people, like see how much they believe in the Lord after that.
It was really funny, man. And then
I didn't know he was an anti-vaxxer.
I think he is. I mean, I could be wrong. But
well, I mean, if he was saying something about it.
And his son is a really big anti-vaxxer.
Is he really?
Del Big Tree Groveland. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. That's a whole nother subject, the anti-vax thing.
Yeah.
I am an old school nurse. I mean, I am way pro-vax.
Yeah.
I am so pro-vax. I think we should get vaxxed twice as much. Like, I am so against babies dying of pertussis. I can't even tell you. Whooping cough. My father had whooping cough as a kid and almost died. Babies die from it, and it's so contagious. And school-age kids, they don't even know. I mean, they don't maybe even have a symptom, and they come home and give it to their baby sister or brother, and they die. I am very pro-vaccine, but, you know, on the other hand, I will say one of my friends' mothers had a terrible response to the COVID vaccine, so everyone's got to do what's right for them.
Yeah.
Except, I don't know, what's right for the baby. Okay, community. Okay, let me stop. I'll probably edit all that out. But I think that's important. But what you were saying when I started coughing was you were talking about improv. When it's good, and when it's so.
And I feel the same way about sitcoms. You know? Like I saw this improv show. It had 3 different groups, each doing 30 minutes, improv groups. And the first one, I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I can make it through this whole show. And I'm sure people have said that about my act before, and then the second one was good. And then, they had it staged right. The last group was the best. And that 30 minutes flew by. It was so much fun.
Yeah, when they're on and so good.
And that's the way I feel about sitcoms too. There's certain ones that are just so good, so well put together.
And of course it's cultural, like, what your cultural dynamic is. That sitcom may not work for you, and this one might work for me, or whatever. Right. I get that. But it is interesting. That just reminded me of have you ever been on a show where maybe it's a local showcase and it's just so many comics and people leave before you get on, and it makes me so sad because they lose confidence.
Right.
And it's like, this is upsetting that they're not ever going to get to the part where it's funny. Because it's such a craft. I think people don't realize. To me, it takes about, I'm a slow learner, so I'd say 10 years to get your stage legs to really plant and here's what I'm doing. Although, I don't know, there's an unlearning process, like we've talked about, the plateau and then the devolving and then the evolving.
Yeah, but I agree. It takes years. And it's funny because, we both are at the Comedy Works, and on a Tuesday night, it's New Talent Night. So they'll put on 5 pros at the end, but there's a whole plethora or whatever, a whole bunch of people who are at varying degrees. And I'll talk to comics, and some of them I can just tell. They'll come up and ask me a question, and they think I'm going to go, if you do this and this, you're going to hit it.
You're going to get the magic formula.
Yeah. And if I always say, if I knew that, I wouldn't be talking to you in the hallway at the Comedy Works. We'd be in my beach house in Malibu if I knew what that combination was, They don't want to hear, get as much stage time as you can, tape every set, listen, especially when you're first starting out. They don't want, a lot of them don't want to hear that. They think I have, like you say, the magic formula.
Yeah. And there is some science to it, but at least that's what people told me when I first started. Nance, there's a science, because I thought when I first started that every show was a new show.
Yeah,
I didn't have a teacher. I was kind of, but anyway. Well, one of the things I wanted to go. So thank you for, first of all, let's just kind of do a parasympathetic nervous system reset about all the stuff's going on right now. And also, I don't know, just so much gratitude for comedy. I'm so grateful. It has saved my life in so many ways I can't even say. And even right now, like I said, even though I'm watching 30, I don't even know when the Golden Girls were out. It might be 40-year-old sitcom that I'm watching. It's doing something for me, helping me through the day. And then I fell asleep and I woke up to this Carol Burnett documentary. And I remember thinking, I have my act. I think Carol Burnett and Lily Tomlin were big influences on me. And they're more like comedic actresses, really. And so I always like to do act outs and voices and characters and stuff. But something that I heard right when I woke up, it was right when I woke up, it was Phyllis Diller talking about what makes a good comedian. And I'm going to cue that up. It's coming up. We may have to edit out this first part, but I'm just going to let it play from where it is.
There isn't a comic in the world that hasn't come out of tragedy. Let me put it this way. It takes an irritation to make a pearl in an oyster. And to have a comic, you have to have that tragic irritation.
That was Phyllis Diller. I want to maybe put that on as part of the lead-in. I was thinking about creating a new intro to Traumedy of what are we doing here? Why is this here? And I was thinking that should be part of the lead-in of the show. Because what we talked about a little bit last time was the tragedy in your life that really was a driving force for you to be funny. And it was the loss of your dad.
Yeah, my father died when I was 6, and I was the youngest of 3. So I have a brother who's maybe 4 years older than me, and a sister who was like 2.5 or 3 years older than me. And, he died. He had lung cancer and he died. And that was, the irritation that made the pearl. And man, I mean, the person that I have the most respect for my whole entire life is my mom, because we always had what we needed, for school. And she always, kept a roof over our head, kept food on the table. And she was grieving like crazy, man. She lost her husband. And what she did for us, I can't thank her enough. I mean, she's passed on, but I still will go up to the graveyard and spend a little time up there and just thank her.
Oh, man.
At the graveyard. And my father's buried there too. But I really...
Are they buried together?
Yeah. And I've got grandmother and grandfather. There's a bunch of them all buried right around there.
That's right, because you were born here.
I'm a Boulder Ride.
You were born here. And I just know you've told me about your mom. Like, she worked so hard. She ran the store. Didn't you have a store?
Yeah, I had a grocery store. My mom ran the front of it, and my dad was the meat cutter, and then, or the, butcher. And then after he died, she would hire other butchers, and she kept the store open for like 5 or 6 years after he died,
And then you became a vegetarian.
Yeah, I became I know, I said this in the last one, but I want to do an album called Vegetarian Son of a Butcher.
I think that's so great.
So, but yeah, I became a vegetarian because my wife, when we were dating and then living together before we got married, she was a vegetarian. And I was fixing separate meals, and I was like, this is dumb, So I just became a vegetarian. We were together for 15 years, and then after we went our separate ways, I just kept being a vegetarian. I'm not a vegan, but I'm a vegetarian. I mean, I'm definitely a vegetarian. I have been probably for over 30 years now.
I was going to say, I think I switched to, I will say, predominantly vegetarian in 1991.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got, in and out of being a vegan. Like I have done it, and then it's like there's this little slippery slope that happens, and I'm like,
Right.
oh, free cheese pizza at the show. I don't know, but I'm back on the kind of more on the predominantly vegan thing right now because of what I think it's really because of the reels and the algorithm. I'm seeing so many vegans and also amazing recipes, like
Right.
deliciousness. So, but anyway, back to your mom. And so she kept the store going. She worked hard. She was a single mom with 3 kids. And then did she remarry or?
She never remarried, and this actually goes to a little more traumedy. She dated one of the guys who was a meat cutter, one of the butchers, this guy named Al. And she dated him forever, and they had an off and on relationship. He was an alcoholic. And so I don't think he ever physically abused her, but he was verbally abusive when he drank. And it was that, that thing where like they'd break up and then he'd weasel his way back in and then they'd be together for a while. He never lived with us, although there were, I shouldn't laugh. There were,
I think you need to laugh.
yeah, there were nights when he was drunk and he fucking passed out on the couch, and I'd wake up as a school kid.
And there's Al.
Yeah, waking up from a drunk, And I even found he drank Ancient Age, which is a whiskey. And I would find empty bottles in the yard of Ancient Age and stuff. And so it was funny because I was young then, I don't know, she probably dated him maybe 3 or 4 years after my dad died. So I was like 10. But then as I got to be 14 and 15 and this guy was still in our life in and out, I was like, this fucking guy, I'm going to punch him if he keeps this shit up,
Yeah.
Because you start to get older. And
especially you come of age. You've got like, hey, I could clock this guy.
Because I would hear him arguing with my mom, and I was like, this guy. And then she finally did make it stick, and
set a boundary.
Yeah, and then they were done. And this is sad. He didn't die in a car wreck, but he died in his car from exposure because he had nowhere to go. But,
He did not get sober.
No, he never got sober. And I was so grateful, not that he died, I was so grateful he died. No, no. But I was so grateful that my mom finally broke that bond because it was not good. You know?
Yeah, and that, as a single mom, and I've had relationships that were not healthy, and my son has witnessed those, but I think it's so important that he sees me set a boundary and say, that's
Right.
it. Like there is a line in the sand at some point. That must have been really good for you.
It was.
To see your mom assert herself and not have to be parentified and take on that role of almost like her older brother. Like, hey man,
Yeah.
did you ever confront the guy, or did you just like,
I mean, maybe to a degree, as I got older. This is funny, though, because we were both football fans, and he was from Wisconsin, so he was a Green Bay Packers fan, and I was a little kid who didn't like him, so I was like the Baltimore Colts, so we'd argue back and forth, and I only liked the Baltimore Colts because I know he didn't like them, But
so that was your way
yeah,
of kind of getting your little digs in,
right, as a little kid.
Yeah.
And, I still have the utmost respect for my mom because what she provided for us, regardless of that guy,
Yeah.
is separate altogether. And I know she loved the guy. It just, he was a good guy until he drank.
Man, that's the thing. I mean, it is hard, especially, I will say, as a single mom and wanting family, like whatever that is. To me, I finally have come to peace with two of us we are a family. My son and I are a family. But I always wanted that paradigm that I grew up with, the mom, dad,
Right.
and or partner, because I've had, men and women partners. But it's like there's a desperation, I guess. And I mean, I just want to say men do prey on single moms.
Yeah.
We are needy. I mean, we are exhausted because you're everything. You have to make the breakfast, and you have to bring home the fake and bacon. You know?
Yeah, and provide clothes and everything else. And then she was running the store too. You know? She was running this grocery store.
Exactly.
And so.
Did you guys help at the store?
Yeah, we did. I mean, I think I was maybe like 11 when she closed it. So I was still a little young, but I helped some. But my brother and sister would work the cash register. I don't think they trusted me. Trusted me with the money. But yeah, I would help. And then there used to be a couple of places in Boulder. One was on like Pearl at 19th called the Boulder Tobacco and Candy Company. And so, she would go there and get some supplies there. And then there was another place, I think it was just called the Wholesale House, which was this giant warehouse that was in like maybe 9th, I don't know what the cross street was, 9th and Walnut or something. And there were just all, you would just go with this huge cart, like a flatbed cart, and put whatever you wanted to get, like cereal and supplies for the store.
So stocking the store.
Yeah, and so I would help her with that,
So it was like a neighborhood grocery store.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
For the like downtown Boulder area.
Yeah.
And I bet you got to know a lot of the people too, a sense of community. Maybe you were raised with like your mom was probably friendly with the community.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knew. Was her name Novosad or?
Yeah, she was Lucille Novosad. Her maiden name was Lombardi. I'm half Italian, and so the Lombardi side of the family, man, it was super tight. My mom was born in Louisville, Colorado, and so we just went to see my uncle today, who still lives in Louisville. But
he's one of the Lombardis.
Yeah, he's one of the Lombardis. And my grandmother, Jenny Lombardi, man, she would put on a spread, roasted chicken, Italian pasta, and cousins and uncles and aunts. There'd be like 12 or 15 people around the table on Sundays. It was really a good life.
So you did have a lot of support from uncles and cousins, grandmother, and extended family.
Yeah,
that's probably helpful to your nervous system. Like you have a sense of you've got support, you've got community here, you've got family.
I was talking to my brother about this the other day, that after my dad died, that saying, it takes a village, talk about cliches, but it was true. Uncles, neighbors, there was a guy who took us, his name was Whitey.
Okay.
Now
That's okay.
Now in 2026, probably not the best name. But he would take us to ball games, and just the neighborhood really stepped up. And like I say, I've had 3 uncles by one Uncle Clem. He was such a good man. He'd take me gold panning when I was a little kid, just something to do. And they stepped up. They really did. And, you can't replace your father, but they did a heck of a job to help us through, and I'm so grateful. And, I mean, my Uncle Clem's grave is just 25 feet from my mom. So, my mom's grave. So when I go there, I spend a little time thanking him and my other uncles too, but, and the neighbors. I mean, it really did make a huge difference in my life,
Yeah. And I'm thinking in your heart, the way going through something like that, you must have more compassion for, because it's so tender, to lose a parent like that at such a young age where you're just now even understanding death. Right. Death is a hard concept for a 6 or 7-year-old. I know. So I bet that I bet it softened your heart. Do you think it softened it or hardened it or opened it, or do you think it had any impact on your heart? I might be making assumptions.
I think it softened it, I think it did. And I mean, Lynn and I, my ex-wife and I, never had kids. We went through a miscarriage, which was really sad.
Yeah.
And I think if I would have had a kid, I shouldn't laugh.
Yeah, we got to laugh. That's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't be the comic that I am today because, I would feel responsible to make sure to make a living. It's one thing if I, take a gig for $600 and have to pay travel, and I'm like, well, I'm going to break even. But I'm going to want to provide for that kid,
I know.
And I'm grateful that we never had kids. I'm sad that we went through a miscarriage. But I have a grandnephew now that one of my nephew has, and I mean, I love that little boy, and it warms my heart, and I'm glad that I can be. I told my nephew I want to be a part of his life, and the family, we're a tight knit family, and it feels so good to be a part of his life.
Yeah, that's really great. Thanks for sharing that. I don't know if I knew that you had gone through a miscarriage too.
Yeah, and I was on the road. Oh man. I drove back from Wisconsin. I drove as far as I could, and I was like, I have to pull over for at least 3 or 4 hours. I got a hotel in Grand Island, Nebraska.
So you raced home to be with Lynn.
Yeah, I mean, the booker knew that I might have to leave, and I called him and said, but things changed after that, for sure.
Oh, well, I will tell you, it does, that grief, and again, I make jokes about it because I have to, because it is the darkest,
right,
saddest thing that has happened in my life was losing a child that, I mean, they're not a child yet, but a promise, the dreams of a child. And it's amazing how quickly you fall in love with the idea of your unborn. And again, I am pro-choice. I am just saying it should be a choice. And yet we have both gone through the loss, and at a time, I trust it too. I trust whatever that is. I mean, I joke about that, but it's like, I do trust, if I had a baby with George, I would not have started touring as a comedian, or I wouldn't be who I am today. And not to say that I'm all that. It's just that I do feel like I'm on my life purpose. And then I did adopt a baby later, but I just trust the path. I had to dust off my nursing license and drop way back with comedy for 9 years until he was 11, or really comfortable being with a babysitter. Mm-hmm. And so I know it would change you. You would not be the same person. My dad was a musician, and he had sponsors who wanted him to tour, and he started having kids, and he told me he had to choose between a tour and bunk beds. And
and I mean, I feel like I'm the same way. I'm a responsible person, and if I was responsible for a young person's baby, I'm going to choose the baby rather than go, hey, honey, I got a guest set tonight.
It's a tough one. And, we do, as women in the community, I'm non-binary-ish woman, female for sure. But the point is, we have seen men who have kids tend to be able to continue to do comedy more than women.
Right.
But you're saying you know yourself well enough that you would definitely be like, well,
Yeah.
I got to get a day job or whatever because I
Yeah.
want my kid to have, well, a dad around too. I think that would be part of it because of
for
your
sure.
loss of your dad. You'd probably want to not be out on the road. That's one of the things with my dad was a salesman, and he took a pay cut to be like the branch manager because
He wanted to be home.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably my mom was like, "You can't do this to me. I have 5
Right.
kids here by
Get
myself."
your ass back here.
I'm sure there was something to that, but yeah, he didn't want to have to be
Yeah.
gone all the time, and I bet that would be I bet you would have. Yeah, I know you would have been like the kind of dad that you wanted. You know,
Yeah, I mean, who knows? But I think I would have been,
me too. Yeah.
And I'm sad that we went through that, but I'm also grateful because we ended up in divorce, and it made it easier. I mean, it was
Yeah.
still traumatic to go through the divorce, but to not have any children.
Yeah.
Once we agreed to splitting up everything, and then it was done.
Well, I will say, and this is that miscarriage ended my marriage. I think it ends marriages sometimes.
I think
It's such a grief, and it's almost like you're a reminder
Right.
of my grief. Like I'm not you, but my husband.
Well,
But you know what I'm saying?
No.
I've seen this too, even with like clients I've had as a nurse who maybe have lost a child. They end up a lot of times. It is just a hard thing to come through together.
Yeah, well, and I said to Lynn, my wife, my ex-wife, I said things changed
After that.
that, and she said, yeah, they
No,
did.
there's a part of us that either shuts down. It can be sexual because you're afraid. I still am. I think, you know what, John? I might have to do some trauma therapy around this because I have blamed some of my sexual shutdown around sexual trauma that I've had, but I think I haven't really linked it to that fear of loss. And I mean, obviously, I'm not going to get pregnant now, but I'm just saying, I think you're right, there's a lot there.
Yeah.
Although I will say what happened to me initially, and I hate to say I was a textbook case, but it was like, oh, I went off and I mean, I negotiated affairs. I asked my husband, like, hey, I needed to have sex with different men, and it was irrational. Like, it was irrational, but I looked and I read about it at the medical library. It was I hate to be a textbook case, but I was a textbook case. But your wife probably was too, and maybe if there had been trauma therapy back then, EMDR and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
maybe
might have
so.
had a different outcome. And I'm so sorry because it's like loss on top of loss.
Right.
And that's not uncommon with trauma, the cascading.
Right.
And that's where I think humor can interrupt that, like where, we could both have been dour people. And me, I'm more intense than you. 'Cause you got that open heart, you got this beautiful vibe. And I think a lot of that is thanks to your God-given gift of humor. Thank you, higher power, for the humor is all I can say. 'Cause
Yeah, for sure. Because, I mean, even, and I worked a lot of day jobs, and I want to do a joke about this. I've never done it, but the hardest part about being divorced was I lost health insurance, because Lynn had a regular job. So and then I was like, oh man, Cobra was out of the question.
Yeah.
And so I had to get a job,
to
But
have health insurance.
yeah, that was the main reason why I got a job. And I was working temp jobs and stuff when I was in town,
Yeah.
but I traded off benefits for flexibility. But then I just learned to appreciate having regular pay and a job, and health insurance. And I did that for a long time. And then finally, with Obamacare, things changed,
Yeah.
and it gave me an opportunity to get reasonably priced health insurance on my own. And also the company that I work for moved the production facility to Tijuana. So I was like, well, I'm not moving to Tijuana.
That's a commute. Yeah.
Yeah, but they gave me a really nice severance pack, and that's what funded me back into stand-up.
And I'm so glad. Here you are. And do you mind saying how old you are?
No, I don't mind. I forgot. No, I'm 70. I turned 70 in July. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you guys, listen to this. This guy just won a major festival. Blue Sky. I mean, Big Sky.
Yeah.
I always say blue. Big Sky Comedy Festival.
Yep.
Like it's a big, and you've been so active and still like one of the most respected comedians. You write all the time. I mean, you are just beloved member of the comedy community here. I mean, we just did the 51st jokes, and they gave you a prize for the dirtiest joke.
Yeah,
but I think it's a way of them saying,
Yeah.
we love you. We want to
Yeah.
give you a prize. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I even heard Adam, Kate, and Holland come up to you and go, hey, man, you could write jokes for me anytime.
Yeah, that was nice.
You're still like, yeah, he did not say that to me. And not because I do a one-person show when I'm supposed to do 2 minutes. I have an issue with going a little long, which is you're not supposed to do that.
That's all right.
But I had my thing, I had my piece to say, and I said it, and I'm
Yeah.
okay. Higher power supported it, but maybe they won't have me back. But I will say this, and that's, I feel like that's what, when I say that, I feel like John says that. You know, I pick up mannerisms. I'm like, I will say this, because you do,
Yeah.
you have that.
Yeah.
And I notice myself saying that sometimes, and I feel like there's a little tip of the hat to you, but you're still doing all these festivals. Tell me more, like what's up next for you?
Well, I'm actually doing Don't Tell special, which is 10 minutes, but it's on YouTube, and I'm taping that in San Diego, January 31st.
Yes.
And so I'm really excited about that. And so what I'm doing now.
That's going to expose you to so many people.
Yeah.
Look at Susan Rice, our friend Susan.
Yeah.
She's the first comic I ever toured with. I got to get her on Traumedy. But she just blew up from Don't Tell.
Right.
You're going to get so much exposure.
Yeah.
And so tell me what else you were going to say after that.
Well,
I
I was
forgot.
just going to say, it's really exciting to work on that, to figure out that 10 minutes. And I've got, another 3 or 4 weeks before that, or 3 weeks. And so it's really fun to do that. But what I was going to say, too, is, during the pandemic, we all took that time off, 15 months off. And I thought about it for a long time. I'm like, well, I'm old enough, I could retire and make that work. And there's parts of show business that I don't really like. But what I do love is walking into a room full of strangers and making them laugh. And that still drives me.
Yeah.
I love that.
I
feeling.
do. I love it too. And I think that's the blessing of not being a draw, is to surprise
Right.
the hell out of people.
Yeah.
I love surprising people because they're like, local comic. And then
Right.
it's like, but some of the local comics here have the chops of anybody. They just aren't known.
Right.
But I mean, Don't Tell, you might be more known. You did that Nate Bargatze's, I'm
Yeah.
doing that in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's called
No, I'm doing that in February. What's it called? Nate's.
the Nate Land Presents the Showcase.
Yeah.
And so you do like a 12-minute set, 13-minute set in Nashville at this club called Zanies. And there's like, I don't know, 8 comics per show. And,
I'm excited to do that.
It's really,
I'm going to
fun.
do that February, I think somewhere in February. I don't know when but it's fun to just, at this age, I mean, I'm 65, you're 70, that there's still growth, there's still excitement, I'm still learning different little things about myself, and also how to, like, my challenge is always, I do want to raise consciousness without getting too preachy, although I try not to, but I want to, there's things in me that I want to do another one-person show, I think.
Yeah. Well, and I say this, as a 70-year-old person, to have that drive still is a great gift, and that's what comedy has provided me with, a lot of things. And I'm not even talking about financial. I'm just talking about, as a structure or a system in my life, it has provided so much. And for me at this age, to still have that drive, I
Yeah.
went down and did a 10-minute hosting set last night at the club.
You took a bus
I
and
took a bus and I walked, 5 blocks in the cold, walked 5 blocks back.
because you love it.
Yeah, and I'm driven to do it, And like sometimes comics from out of town are like, how long does it take to get back to Boulder on the bus? I'm like 50 minutes. They're like, damn, dude, but I'm driven, and I'm so grateful for that, because I don't want to just be sitting around going, well, what time is the Nuggets game on?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that either, but
Nothing wrong with it, but
I'm so
it's
grateful
so
that-
exciting.
yeah.
It's so I would just say enlivening.
Yeah.
Like I'm alive and I have projects I want to do. I love doing this podcast. This feels like a calling. I have some writing I want to do. I love, and I think one of my favorite things about comedy is having co-creative friends.
Yeah.
I can call you or we can talk and we can sit over here in my dining room table. We can sit and write together or go
Right.
to a coffee shop and co-create. So there's something about creativity. Ram Dass said, are you identifying with that which has been manifested? Or are you identifying with the creator, as one with the creator and creating? And man, whenever I get into that victim energy, back to the beginning of what we talked about, when I'm starting to feel powerless or like, look what happened. And yes, we need to acknowledge it. We need to grieve. I mean, I really needed to cry about Renee Good
that was
because
so sad.
I remember my son being 6 and getting up to make his favorite little French toast, like he's not going to get that.
Yeah.
He's not going to get his favorite mom, whatever hug or back rub or song that she sang just to him, because that's sacred mom-child bonding. Oh, God, it's important to grieve. It's important to let the feelings move and just like send love. I do believe in the power of prayer and I do believe in it, but also take action.
Right.
But whenever I get just don't get stuck. Let the feelings move, honor the grief, honor the rage, take action where you can. I don't want to end on crying, so can we get
All right.
but you know what? I think I did need to just drop in. I'll tell you this, John. I'll tell you this. I cannot
I'll tell you this. Let me tell you this.
I will say this. No, seriously, I have noticed I do recovery work for adult children, and sometimes I just realize I get scared about crying alone. Like if I'm here by myself and I'm afraid to get stuck or I'm afraid I'm going to go too dark by myself. So maybe it's like, I have a witness. I have someone helping me hold this space, almost like a trip sitter when we do a psychedelic
Right.
journey. It's like going into those deep feelings. I almost need a friend with me. So thank you for sitting with me
Sure.
with that.
Yeah, I'm glad I could.
And I think there's some baby grief that's coming up too. Just
Yeah.
the fact that
talking about.
losing children,
Yeah.
but we have those feelings. We honor them. That's what trauma is not about denial. It's about moving through it and then transmuting it.
Well, I'll tell you this story really quickly too about crying. Let me get a drink of water.
Yeah. Try not to choke like I did.
After I got divorced, I was really close to my father-in-law because my own father died, and he was like a father to me. And Lynn and I separated in April, and then her dad, Red, is his nickname, passed away like in June. So our divorce wasn't final. They lived in Chicago, and she said, "Hey, Red passed. We want you to come to the." I'm going to cough. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm going to move this closer to you too.
We want you to come to the funeral. And I said no at first. And I moved back home into the house I grew up in. And so I was by myself sitting on the picnic table outside because it was nice. And I'm sitting on top of the picnic table. Peter Gabriel song came on, and I don't give a damn about Peter Gabriel one way or the other. But that song hit me so hard. And I cried, man, for 7 to 10 minutes. But what it did do,
What was the song?
I don't remember the name of the song.
Oh.
But I came to the realization that I had to go back for that funeral.
Something in the song.
Yeah. It was something about the energy of the song. And I came to the realization that I needed to go back for that funeral. And I was so glad I did. I would have regretted for the rest of my life not going back to pay respect for that man because he was a father to me. And then they asked me to be a pallbearer. And I'm like, do you go, nope, that's where I draw the line, no physical labor for me. So
I'm union.
yeah, but I was honored, to be a pallbearer. But then after that,
But that's just a little traumedy release.
Yeah.
Because it's almost overwhelming to think about losing your dad and then losing your marriage and then losing your father-in-law who was like another father
yeah,
to you.
he really was like a father. And so after that, I had a gig in Arlington, Texas. It was
which is a suburb of Dallas, the Metroplex, Dallas-Fort Worth area.
And it used to be a Funny Bone. They have a whole chain of them, but then it was called Hyenas. What a great name. But anyway, the headliner was a local guy and the opener was a local guy. So I'm staying in this condo by myself, and I've never felt so alone. And I'd go for walks, and one day I was walking, and this black bird swooped me and came so close to my face that I felt the air. It never touched me. And I was like, that was Red.
You felt it. Thank you for sharing that.
Ron, his name was Ron, but he was redhead, so everybody called him Red. And so when that bird swooped me, I was like, that was him.
You just knew it.
Oh, yeah.
You just knew it.
I mean, it was literally like 3 days after the funeral.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
I thank you for sharing. You and I will, because we commute together a lot of times. We drove up to the mountains recently, and I mean, this is my jam right now, is sharing spirit signs. You had a knowing.
I knew it.
You can trust that, I feel.
And it made me actually not feel as lonely when I went back to this empty condo, for 3 nights and just staying by myself. I mean, at the time, as I look back in retrospect, I think that's one of the things I needed in grieving, was to spend that time alone and then just figure out, that's what it is, and I'm still going to be okay.
Thank you, John. I'm going to work on how to grieve alone. I have to admit, I struggle with it. But thank you for sharing that. Yeah. It's important. It's so important that you have that time to go within and allow the feelings. And
yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever felt that lonely, being in a condo in Arlington, Texas, after and our divorce wasn't final, but we were separated.
Yeah,
and I just came back from that funeral, and that was a lonely time.
And his spirit knew. It's like, I'm gonna. And did it lift your spirits then?
It did, yeah. And I mean, that bird, it did not touch me, but I felt the wind, when it flew by me. And I knew, man, I was like, that's amazing.
Thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
So kind of facing or going through the grief and also participating in the process of letting go, putting this man in the ground, basically.
And then also after the funeral, being in the in-laws' house, and I'm like, this is the last time I'm ever going to be in this house.
Oh, yeah.
And just
having closure
with
that, because I've heard that, like, sometimes you don't know when is the last time.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last time, like that little, Nancy, stop. But that little boy does, the last time he hugged his mommy or kissed her goodbye. And like, we don't know. And I guess that is another thing, that just to say, hey, man, save her. I know, again, I don't like to speak in cliches, but truly, like, I savor this time with you. I thank you for being my friend.
You. Yeah,
I love you.
I
love you. And
I'm so grateful for our friendship, and, not just for comedy, but our friendship in general.
Yeah. I know you're right across the way, and I'm right over here. And so if anyone out there needs to reach out, process anything, call John.
Yeah,
I'll send them your way.
I'll write some jokes for you.
Yeah. How do people find you? What is your Instagram again? Hippie?
At Hippie Comic.
Okay, Instagram at Hippie Comic. Is that the same on TikTok and other stuff? Or?
It's the same on Facebook. TikTok, I'm on there, but I'm not. I need to reinvigorate that.
I know. There's so many things. We get spread so thin, but I know I see you posting a lot of jokes on Facebook, and I'm assuming on Instagram as well. I don't know.
Yeah, I do. And
we're of an age. We're Facebook age. Let's face it.
Yeah. And I do want to be more active on social media, because it does make a difference career-wise. If I wasn't a comic, I wouldn't be on Facebook or anything.
I agree. I know. It's kind of part of it. But also YouTube. So we're going to watch for your Don't Tell coming out.
Yeah.
And then maybe you'll have more, maybe more active on YouTube. Who knows?
Yeah.
And just, if you're you tour all over the country, so people can look for you. Your website's John Novosad.
Comedy, yeah.
John Novosad Comedy.
Yeah, and my schedule's on there, and so.
Yeah. Well, I'll see you I see you right now.
Yeah.
But I'll look forward to the next time we get together.
Right.
Thanks for coming over and answering my call.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. And let's see what we can do to shift the energy in 2026.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to work on it right now.
Right on. Peace and love.
Bye.
Bye. I want to thank my guest, John Novosad, my friend. You can find him on Instagram and other things at Hippie Comic, and you can look him up on his website, johnnovosadcomedy.com. Give him a follow, give him some likes, watch for his Don't Tell special that's going to be taped on January 31st. I still say taped, even though there's no tape. There's no tape anymore, man. It's going to be recorded digitally on January 31st. I want to thank my son, Nathaniel Norton, for the music for Traumedy. I want to thank you, the listener. I do hear from you, and thank you. I'm glad to know that some of these topics are resonating and helping you, and it's helping me. It's helping me knowing that it's helping you, but it's helping me directly just having these conversations. I really need them. And right now it's so important to find community, find like minds, and come together, get off of social media, come together in IRL, or what is it called? Is that in real life? Yeah, in real life. Come together in real life and let us know if you have a topic or if you want to be a guest on Traumedy, and I look forward to connecting with you some more. And remember, no matter what, keep laughing.